Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. What's up guys, this is Altcoin Sherpa with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. Today I'm just going to review Bitcoin. It's been a minute since I've done a video, but I don't know. Let's just see how it goes. I think that the market is at a somewhat interesting spot. I'll review Bitcoin briefly, but yeah, let's just get to it. Today we are at around 3 months or so of this kind of downtrend that we've seen since 120, where price, hit a high and then just pretty much dumped extremely strongly. 1010 was obviously a nasty wick, and then we saw subsequent legs down afterwards. There are a lot of fractals where people are talking about, I'll just make a fresh chart so that it's a little bit easier to see. People like to compare this area to, if you look at the fractals, I mean, personally, this was probably more like this. And then we had another leg down. And then, so people might think that we're like close to like this. And I don't personally think this is the case, honestly. I mean, the market structure is quite a bit different than what we saw back in 2021 versus now. There was a significant difference in the way in which we moved up. Back then, we moved up from like, that COVID crash down to like 3.5K or whatever, all the way to 60K. We had a lot of consolidation before then, but the run up started from like 10 to 60 really strongly in 2021. Whereas in 23, kind of near the bottom of the market, they started the acceleration through 2025, there was a lot of long consolidation periods. 2025 was very much a long consolidation period, and a lot of 2024 was a lot of consolidation. 2025 was another big move up, but also there was a lot of consolidation as well. The difference is that 2021 and also 2017 really just rocketed straight up. There wasn't really much pause at all. And for the pauses that there was in 2021, you saw that consolidation period in January of 21, and then price tapped it around the middle of 21 in June and July. But there wasn't really a whole lot of support on the way down. Generally speaking, when a move is going straight up, there's no support levels on the way down. It's not going to be able to have much support on the way down because there's really not, there weren't any consolidation periods. Usually the consolidation periods provide decent bounce areas, whereas in 2024, we hit that area all along here. And because of that, because of the way we ran up, we didn't just go straight up like we did in 21 and 2017. We chopped around quite a bit. I believe that this area will provide a pretty strong overall quote-unquote bottom for Bitcoin. Like in the past, Bitcoin has gone down like 70%, or whatever. I don't really believe that to be the case going forward. I mean, we hit like 50% down from top to bottom recently, but I think the relative bottom is in. Like people calling for 40K, I don't believe that's going to happen personally, unless something really bad happens like with macro. But I don't know. Overall, like I still believe that this consolidation period in middle of 2024 or most of 2024 really is going to provide pretty decent support. So, overall, like I don't really believe in the fractal personally. Does that mean that like we're going to just send right away? No, I don't personally believe that either. Like there's a lot of different outcomes that can happen. You can see price we've chopped around here for about a month now. We can just go up to like 85, 90K or something like that, and then dump. We could possibly make it up to 100K, then dump. We might just chop down here for a while too. There's a lot of different outcomes that can really happen. I don't really personally know overall. Obviously, nobody really knows what's going to happen. In the short term, it is interesting because we were in this relative range for about a month now, and you can see that price, hit some stopping point. We had that fake out back in March. Price dipped down, and we've had like 8 green days in a row. Today looks like it might be a red day, but we'll see. And people they're all eyeing this range break here. This was the relative range where price was chopping around, and people are now expecting this to continue. But at any point in a range break, you generally want to see some volume. You want to see some more continuation. It's a hard ask, honestly, to assume that we are going to truly break the range. The last several months, really since October, we haven't had super strong range breaks at all. Like, that whole move back in November all the way to January, this was just like a false break, and then we just legged down. So, it's important to remember that the trend is still down. We're still in a bearish market structure. There's still lower highs and lower lows. And whenever price is consolidating, we want to assume that it's going to break up. But in reality, the trend is still such that it's still something like this. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that just remember that the overall high time frame trend is still bearish, and you can still probably take trades pretty quick, to be frank and honest with you. Like, just take your 5 or 10% moves. We had a really nice move yesterday for a lot of altcoins, and would generally just assume that like the bearish trend will just continue. Like, eventually it's going to reverse, and it all depends on your strategy too. You can just buy some of these memes or whatever coin you want. Like, look how bad Useless got wrecked. Like, this thing got fucking annihilated. It's at like 4 cents. If you throw like some money down at this area, and I'll review this more later, but I think one thing to really understand too is that a lot of these coins can go several X. Like, this can go a few X even from current prices, not necessarily the lows. And they're still not even going to reach prices that they were at back in like early November, for example. That's how bad these coins got destroyed. I don't think anybody assumes that these altcoins are necessarily going to reach like all-time highs. Like, if it goes like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9x or whatever from here, that'd be awesome. But like, you don't have to even assume that these are going to do those huge numbers in order to make money. And I think that's something that people really need to remember, is that yes, these will probably make lower highs, but these charts overall look pretty reasonable. Like, they've been in consolidation periods for a decent amount of time now. Well, I guess 1 month, but I mean, the overall downtrend has been pretty pronounced for a while. This one is for 150 days. So, that's actually shorter than I thought, to be frank and honest with you. But maybe it's just because of this chart. Anyways, I'll review more Useless later. But yeah, conceptually speaking, still in a bearish market structure. If we see more continuation, I think we get up to 85 to 95K. If not, and we just go back in within the range, which is probably more likely, that we just continue chopping here, then just expect more chop overall. Expect all coins to have these like few days of running and then just like a quick retrace. So yeah, ETH looks pretty strong. ETH BTC is a decent chart in my opinion. If Bitcoin does move up. I actually expect ETH to like outperform. The chart looks pretty solid. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, Bitcoin is stable. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go to like 3,500. It's pretty strong. But again, it's important to take this contextually of the previous moves. ETH in general is like kind of a shit asset, so you don't necessarily assume that this is really going to outperform Bitcoin, like on high time frames. I think that's very unlikely, but I think that the chart itself looks pretty decent. Yesterday it outperformed Bitcoin, so yeah, if Bitcoin is stable, then this probably goes up to like 3,500, or I guess similar to Bitcoin to either like one of these levels. It makes sense to me. Solana, same thing. All the majors have the same chart where it's just like pretty much death, 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 and then like they've just chopped around for like 1 month. That's kind of like the same structure for all of these: BNB, ETH, Sol, whatever. It's like it's all the same. Like you just have to determine like which altcoins you want to choose, or which majors you want to choose. Like Solana is usually pretty good when like quote unquote risk on environments start, but like yeah, long term, I mean anywhere from like $100 is still, I think, reasonably priced. Like if it loses this level though, this $75 level, it's going to like $50, which would be like obviously horrific for like the majority of the market. But it still looks okay for now, in my opinion. Like again, majors, they're not going to outperform Bitcoin, so yeah, but they'll still have short spurts where they actually do pretty reasonably, I think. Let's get into some shit coins. Lighter is one that my friends are in. I have a lot of friends that actually have bought this recently, to be frank with you. I am not in it. I think it looks interesting. I think that it's pretty underowned. It's a messy chart, and before this really had a lot of criticism with like anytime it actually had any sort of like moves or announcements, like it was always very like the team is very leaky. All the insider information was just like always given out, so people would trade against it, and like anytime big news came, it just got sold off. So good product, good team, good buybacks, etc. The chart itself looks pretty strong. Like this type of tight price action that you see right here, it to me it shows some sort of bottom consolidation, and again, like a dollar is also just like kind of like a strong psychological level as well. To be determined, like if it can break this current 120 area, it's pretty strong. But like as I said, I'm not really trading this one. I just don't really trade it very well, honestly. It's very choppy, and there will be a time when, in my opinion, where lighter does outperform hyperliquid in a short like spurt. But like higher time frames, it's probably unlikely. Let's go back to hype. Hype is one of the strongest coins on the market overall. It underperformed the majority of the market back on that move in January. But then later in January, it really set a big spike up after that. Like there was DAT buying and like a bunch of other really big buyers overall. And then price obviously retraced down to $25. I got greedy. I thought it'd get like down to 20. Didn't again. But that it's been like the strongest coin in the market really since February. I think there's a lot of things going on with it. Number one, like a lot of the metals, silver, gold buying, all that volume was really insane for a while. And the HIP 3 dream has really come through where, you can trade anything on chain 24/7. Like it's really cool to see kind of like this overall narrative play out and like these ideas come to fruition. Recently commodities have been really important with oil, different types of oil, Brent, CL, and crude. It's all tradable on chain, and I think that's pretty powerful. 24/7 markets. So Hypesim's really strong. Would I buy it here at this current level? I don't know. I mean, like I saw there was a lot of recent big buying from Galaxy. There was like a really big one. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if it pulls back a little bit, but again, it's really dependent on what Bitcoin does and like kind of if these commodities continue. But if you're thinking about like one altcoin to really buy for the potential like, quote unquote long haul, hype like has to be in there. Like if you actually want to hold an altcoin with actual fundamental value, um, it's just like the best coin on the market. Yes, they do have unlocks and what have you, which is kind of shitty. But I think at this point, um, the unlocks are just going to be kind of negligible in my opinion. But I guess we'll see. Like that's easing some of that sell pressure up a little bit, and to be determined like what happens. But all things considered, I think this coin has really held up pretty well despite the team selling, and I think that it's a good case study too for like any other altcoin because when any other altcoin starts unlocking, it just nukes to hell. You'll see like even the best coins like Athena like was just dumped because everybody's unlocking and like just they're selling. It's not to be expected obviously, but everything still looks pretty strong here for hype in my opinion. Um, FARTCOIN. I'm going to review some of these other memes actually just on one go because I think the concepts are important also. Uh, you should always group altcoins based on the sectors that they're in, and I think it's really important to categorize them like uh, you know it's important to categorize them by sector because every sector pumps individually, generally speaking, in different environments. Sometimes, in harsh environments, you'll see more protocols with um, cash flow and more value generation, like outperform. In some situations, like when Nvidia is really hot, like a lot of the AI coins will really do well. Alternatively, in risk-on environments, you'll see memes also do very well. It just really depends. Like, of course, some sectors are completely dead, like gaming, just like those probably won't ever come back for at least the way in which we saw them. But for the relevant sectors, they're still pretty important, in my opinion. Farcoin was like the leading indicator for risk on. It was that way back in 24 at the end of 24. And then again, it was that way again at the market bottom in March of 25. We had that insane run from like 20 cents all the way up to like, near like a buck 70 or whatever it was. Um, Huge run, huge liquidity, huge volume, and then like every other altcoin, it's kind of just died. I still have a spot bag of this, um, albeit much smaller than it was before. But I think that for Farcoin to really return, it has to be the quote unquote like risk on meme. Cryptos had Farcoin as the quote unquote risk on meme. Cryptos had Farcoin as that for the last like kind of two big runs. And unfortunately in 2025, we really didn't have too many huge runs relative to like 2024 or other big bull market years. Um, of course, in 2025, we had that stretch in as I said, in the spring, but then also the DAT stuff in the summer. But overall, it wasn't like 2024 at all. Anyways, in order for Fartcoin to return to prominence, it has to be known and as by the entire market as like the leading on-chain risk-on meme, and I think it's really going to be telling like what happens when we get in that environment. One thing I was a little bit scared about was in January 1st, we saw a lot of other memes outperform it. Like Useless outperformed it, Pepe outperformed it. Um, I think that January 1st run really showed that memes can and they will lead again when the right conditions call for them. A lot of people are just saying, "Oh, memes are dead forever." It's just about value. It's this, that. I agree to an extent, but I'm actually quite bullish on coins like memes as well as like super high value protocols like Hyperliquid. Everything in the middle is just, in my opinion, totally fucked, totally dead. Like these in between coins that like kind of have some value generation, kind of don't, but like they're still big VC projects. Those coins are just like toast, in my opinion. Um, I'm not really talking about old institutional coins like Link either. I'm more talking about what's a good example? I don't know. Like I mean, Zero like would have actually been one before their announcement, and like it looks like decent now, and we'll review it later. But like a coin like Zero like would probably be just a zero, honestly, 0 0. Um, but anyways, for FARTCOIN, like again, like I think generally speaking, you can play these in a lot of different ways. You can decide whether or not you want to just like buy some of these at these like low, quote unquote, low prices. Of course, you'll have to maybe endure some volatility or more downside, but like I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with buying most altcoins down at these prices. Like again, I think the mindset should basically be that you're going to hit like a few X on this money. I don't know when, I don't know how, but sometime within the next 6 months, this will probably double from current prices. You know, this will probably go to like 60 cents or something. And at that point, um, like, you know, you just sell. Like, I don't think anybody's assuming that this is going to go back to a dollar. Maybe it does. That'd be great if it does. I don't think anyone's assuming it's going to go all the way back to 160. That would be great again. But, um, but you can certainly hit a few X, in my opinion, from these current levels. And that's the general strategy I think you should take with these, with a lot of these meme coins or altcoins in general, is that yeah, buying down here, it's kind of shitty. Yes, it can go another 30-40% down. Like, sure, it can go another, like, who knows? It can go another 50% down all the way down to 10 cents. Who the fuck knows? Like, um, but I generally think the risk reward is pretty good down here. And I do believe that it's going to hit like a 2x or more from current prices in the next 6 months. Pengu, similar story as Fartcoin. I have a bag of this. I think it's again generally pretty good. It had an absolutely monster run before, um, absolutely gigantic. It was one of the leaders. I mean, this is like a good inspiration for a lot of altcoins too. Were just like dumped to hell, and then they bought up a lot of the supply and then full sent it. This is like pretty nice, honestly, to see. Um, we're back at the area. It's like an interesting area. It's near the volume. It's near the point of control on volume profile. Generally speaking, this is always a really strong support or resistance area. I believe, again, similarly to before, that this is going to hit a few X from the lows. Useless, again, same story as Farcoin. It's been dying, you know, for quite some time. And then a pretty much a 1 month consolidation period, and then a move up. I think this is like the reason why you buy one meme over another is that basically you assume a community, you assume new buyers actually like, you know, these kind of Lindy memes. Not that Useless is that Lindy, it's not that old, but I'm actually more bullish. This is maybe a video for another time too. Is that some of these Lindy memes are pretty bullish because Pump Fund made it so that like there was new pairs being fired every other day, new runners before. Obviously, like that wasn't sustainable. Everything got wrecked. They extracted way too much money. Like not Pump Fund, just like the entire ecosystem, to the point where like crypto natives are still here and they still want something to bet on in terms of memes. And I personally believe that like these Lindy ones are ones that still have attention. They still have recognition, and like it's not like when risk on conditions continue, I don't think they're necessarily going to flock on chain with the way that it was before. I think that a lot of these older Lindy memes actually have decent flows personally. Again, not saying they're going to all-time highs, but just Like I would prefer, like I think that something like FARTCOIN is going to outperform like the new runner overall, like on average for sure. On like the pump fund trenches. This video is already getting a little bit long, so apologies for that. Pepe, this one is a weird one because it's had like these long big spikes up over the last few months, followed by quick like more grinding down. Eventually this will reverse, but I don't like to trade it. You see like these big spikes, super liquid, and then like a tiny slow grind down, and then a big spike, a tiny slow grind down. And today it just looks like it's going to retrace most of yesterday's gains, which sucks, but I'm not a huge fan of trading this one, even if it is like doing pretty well. It'll eventually turn though, like similar to the other ones. It'll eventually have a reversal. Like one of these days, it'll have continuation to where you'll see something like just like a big spike up, and then like it'll come back down, and then actually it'll form a low and then go higher. Let's go to some of the AI coins. Near and TAO are two on my list. Near broke the highs recently, but again, don't know if it's necessarily the best buying spot personally. A lot of these altcoins just got so decimated over the last several months, or really even years, that again, buying down here is like seems reasonable, but it's also a tough game because you don't really know what kind of buyers or flows these actually have. Like even in bullish environments, like 2025 was obviously horrible for the most altcoins, and you can see that here where it's just chopped around for like nearly whatever, like most of the year, and then just leg down. Similar to other altcoins, this can like double for sure. You know, it's at 150 now, or $1.50 now. It can easily go back up to $3. You know, it's like, yeah, it's probably it's entirely possible, but you just have to find altcoins that like have the right narrative and have the right recognition. I think that Near is decent personally for a few reasons. Number one, it's an older project, meaning the float should be pretty good. It's not going to have too many unlocks, if any at all. Actually, probably none at this point. The project hits several verticals like AI and what have you, and yeah, it just looks pretty reasonable overall. But again, like to be determined if like retail actually wants to bid this up. TAO has had a lot of recognition too the last few days, where we had this pretty strong move up. TAO subnets are all getting talked about in the group chats, but again, probably wouldn't be a buyer at this current level. I traded this a little bit from like 220 to like 250, but I'm all out. And if you were to buy this one, I'd maybe consider buying maybe like 240 would be okay. I don't know, I'll set some alerts, I guess. Anyways, Zero, we don't have to talk about that one. Looks okay. Zcash looks pretty okay as well, but again, the market structure is still bearish. It's still downtrending. Maybe formed a low here, but overall wouldn't really. I don't know. It's a weird chart. Like I think it's somewhat interesting, to be frank and honest with you. And they do have some development going on there, but probably wouldn't consider buying like right here personally. But more just observing. I don't know. Like if we see more of like this, like for a little while longer, I'll consider buying, to be frank with you. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.